before we get started? Great. Okay, well, thank you all for joining. This is the third of three. Oh, okay. Sorry, just gonna mute whoever called in. This is the third of 3 intro kickoff calls for the Women at GitLab mentorship program. So super excited that you're all here to chat today. We're going to do a short panel today with a few different panelists talking about their experiences both as mentors and mentees, either at GitLab or somewhere else. So I really hope that the discussion will be a cool way to kick off the program and get everyone excited and inspired about participating in this mentorship program. Before we get to the panel, we have Robin here, and Robin is one of our executive sponsors at the Women's TMRG. So I'm just going to ask Robin if she can say a few words to kick off and welcome you all to this program.
Thank you, Samantha. I'm super thrilled to be here. With that, I do have to hop off for another call, so I hate to intro and run, but so if I'm not here for the entire time, that's why. This is my now second time doing this at GitLab, which I believe it is our second run. We did a pilot version of this last year. I'm happy to see that my mentee, Madeline, is on this call as well. I don't know if it was as good of an experience for her as it was for me, but I had a fabulous time learning from her during our pairing, and we've maintained a really nice friendship going forward, which I'm really thrilled to have established with her and wouldn't have had but for that program probably. And so we have 32 pairs of mentors and mentees this time around, which is fabulous. Everybody who requested a mentor got one. We have folks coming in from 16 different verticals across the company. We have folks from customer success, the people group, sales, security, awareness, development, accounting, digital marketing, infra, product management, finance, brand, business technology, talent ac, and community relations and legal. We have 52 people who actually volunteered as mentors. So we had more mentors than we could even accommodate, which was amazing. And there are 2 folks at eGroup that are doing it, and myself and then Eric Johnson are mentoring. So this is my second time around. I think this is Eric's first time doing it, if I'm not incorrect there. 9 different vice presidents across the company, and then Stella as well, who's our chief of staff, is also participating. So I think it's really great statistics across the company. I'm really thrilled to see what comes out of these different relationships and the different pairings. And I think the cross functionality is super exciting to see. And just there's a lot of empathy that comes out of this program also, because people have build awareness for what other people do. And it's really what you make of it. So I've never been able to be a mentee in an environment like this before. And so I'm a little jealous that everybody else gets to participate in this way. Although I see Ryan O'Neill on the call and I might ask him to mentor me. Because I feel like he gives really good advice. But with that, I'm going to pass it over to Kyla. And I just want to wish you all a really successful and amazing program. And it's basically, it is what you put into it. So, I really urge you to take advantage of all the different aspects of the program, and don't hesitate to reach out if there's questions, or it's kind of just, it's choose your own adventure.
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Robin.
Robin. Hi, everyone. I'm Kyla, our Women's TMRG lead, alongside our co-lead, Madeline Hennessy, who's joining us on the call today as well. And we just really want to give a great thank you to all of the mentors and mentees for taking the time to be part of this program. This is the second iteration of this program from our Women's Team Member Resource Group, first starting with our Women in Sales Mentorship Program, and now being able to broaden this program to include all departments in our organization. So I sincerely thank you to each one of you who have all shown interest in being part of the program.
Great. Thanks so much, Kyla and Robin. It's great to have you both kick us off for this. So thanks for being here, and for all you do for the Women's TMRG. Okay, so we are going to get to our panel. We have 3 awesome panelists that are joining us today. And we're going to be going through 3 different questions about their experiences, like I was saying at the beginning, about being a mentor or a mentee. But before we get to the questions, I would love if the 3 panelists could take just a quick minute to introduce yourself. You can share your name, your role at GitLab, and where you're based. We don't have a specific order for the mentees to go in. So I'm sorry, not for the mentees, for the panelists to go in. So if you feel called to introduce yourself first, please just go ahead and jump right in.
I'll jump in then. I'm Erica Flowers. I am the manager of the digital production team at GitLab, and I'm based out of Chicago, and I have been at GitLab for a little over 3.5 years. So that's my quick intro.
Thanks, Erica.
I can go next. I'm Taylor Rudlin. I'm one of the solution architects for the commercial team here at GitLab. I'm coming up on 2 years at the end of this month, and I'm based a bit outside of Denver, Colorado.
Nice. Thanks, Taylor.
My name is Cynthia Ng, also known as Artie on Slack. I'm a senior support engineer based out of Vancouver Island on the west coast of Canada, and I've been here just over 3 years.
Great. Cool. Thanks, Cynthia. Okay, so I'm going to read out this first question, and I just want to call out that talking about mentorship and being a mentor or a mentee can sometimes feel really personal. So if there's a question that I ask in the panel that a panelist maybe like doesn't feel super comfortable answering, no pressure, we can just move on to the next one. So this first question is, what was your biggest accomplishment, key learning, or takeaway that you've gained from participating in a mentorship relationship?
I don't mind going first for this one. So I was previously part of the Women in Sales Mentorship program last year, I guess, it was a while ago. And one of the biggest things that I took away from it was learning how to advocate for myself a little bit more. So through the program, I kind of worked through like a promotion doc so that I could move up into the next tier of being an SA here. And I don't think that I would have had the confidence necessarily to do that or outside guidance kind of telling me what I should be doing and giving me more insight into my accomplishments, making them seem less like a regular job thing. So my previous mentor helped a ton with that, and it was great. It was difficult, but it was great.
Yeah, I'll just add to Taylor's comment about like when I've been actually both a mentee and a mentor, and I can say that when I was a mentee, it was great to have someone who happened to be at kind of a higher level in the organization that I was in. And it really helped me kind of understand how to talk to leadership. And obviously at GitLab, it's great that, we have short toes and, we're encouraged to talk to anyone at any level. But you still want to make sure that how you're talking to them is efficient and effective, and certainly, cognizant of making sure that you're using your time and their time wisely. So I think it was really helpful to kind of understand also like what leadership often is looking for when you're providing evidence for something, if you want to make a case for whatever it is that you're talking about and that sort of thing. So that was really helpful for me. And then on kind of the flip side as a mentor, I think it's just really helpful to kind of always be, talking to people and learning more about their work style and how they want to accomplish things. Everyone works differently. And for me, it's been really useful to just get more perspectives and understand how different people work depending on their background, their culture, their learning style, everything. So yeah, I think it's been very valuable both on the mentee side and as a mentor.
And I think for me, I think the biggest takeaway was being able to have that opportunity to really forge a close relationship and a tight relationship with someone in leadership, and to collaborate with them on a project as well. It's part of the mentorship program that I was in. And so we continue to work on that today, but really the bigger part of it is being able to have that person to kind of go back to, even now when I'm having questions or thoughts about, career and next steps and that sort of thing, to have that person that I can really actually feel like I can trust and go back and talk to and really be mentored by. And because we're in the same world of marketing, but different tiers. I'm learning about different parts of marketing that my skills might be transferable to. So I think that's a really important part of, and a very valuable part of mentorship is forging that relationship and collaborating with them, and then being able to kind of keep that conversation going while you're at GitLab and even beyond. So that would be my quick draw McGraw answer on that, would be the collaboration and the relationship.
Yeah, thank you all for sharing. It sounds like hearing each of you that like advocacy for both like self-advocacy from the mentee and also advocacy for the mentee from the mentor is like really a theme in all of those biggest takeaways. And I think that that is one of the main, like the essence of mentorship is advocacy for both people who are part of the relationship. So it's cool to hear you both explain it so differently, but have it all be connected back to that. So thanks for that. Okay, this next question is almost kind of like the exact opposite of the first question, going from biggest takeaways to biggest challenges. So what is the biggest challenge that you have faced as either a mentor or a mentee or both, if you've been in both positions?
I can jump in. I would say in terms of the challenge, because this is an additional element to what everyone else is already doing in their work lives, especially as being the mentee, I feel like the onus is really on you. That would be my advice, is to really make sure that you continue the conversation, you continue the relationship after the program is over and even during it, and to make sure that you carve out time in your schedule. If you're doing a collaborative project together, or just to make sure that you have that time to really take advantage of the opportunity to have someone that actually wants to take that time to talk to you, because they've obviously volunteered to do that. So take advantage of the opportunity. And I know that that can be a challenge because, we're all very busy, but I would say that, especially if there's a project involved, because, we've got a project we're still trying to get over the hump. But, I think it's great. I think, those would be the challenges if I were to highlight them, but I think it's worth putting in the time.
Yeah, just to build a little bit on what Erica said, I would say that especially as a mentor, I've been part of a lot of mentorship programs outside of GitLab. And I think communication is actually one of the biggest challenges, because the onus is usually on the mentee to kind of, follow up and even often do the initial contact in most mentorship programs I've been part of. And sometimes, I'll follow up if I haven't heard anything. And even then, sometimes it'll be like, are you actually like, why did you sign up if you are not going to be responsive? Because, a mentor is putting in the time and effort to actually, volunteer and reach out. And it is very frustrating, honestly, as a mentor, if a mentee isn't willing to put at least the same amount of time into the program. So I don't expect that kind of problem at GitLab, like internally, but it's definitely one of those things where you want to make sure that you establish the kind of cadence of communication that is expected on both sides. And as part of like your initial coffee chat, I know it was recommended, and I definitely think it's very important to have a shared understanding of the expectations around the communication, especially the cadence. So yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest challenge. I think it's easy. It'll be easier at GitLab being internal, but it's definitely my experience that is the biggest challenge.
I completely agree with both of those points, especially the establishing the cadence up front. That's always great to set the expectation. Another thing that I kind of struggled with the program was initially opening up to a new person that I hadn't met before, that was in a leadership role. It was a little bit intimidating and I was kind of nervous. So that was interesting for me to kind of get through after the first couple of calls. and just being comfortable talking about the actual problems that I was having or things that actually mattered, as opposed to kind of like a superficial coffee chat style thing.
Yeah, Taylor, I think that that's a really important point, and it's come up pretty significantly in both of the discussions that we've had earlier today about how one of the biggest challenges that mentees seem to have faced is feelings of imposter syndrome, which I don't know if exactly that's what you've experienced, but that's what's been used in calls earlier today, and feeling like, am I in the right place? Should I be here? Do I feel comfortable enough to be here? And so I think having a mentor relationship where you both feel safe to open up and share things beyond work, if you feel comfortable doing so, has incredible benefits, because you feel safe and can have those challenging conversations about what really matters, what you really want to get out of that program. So thanks for sharing that. Okay, I have one more question for you all, and we might have to get creative because I feel like Erica and Cynthia both already shared advice, so it'll be like double advice. But the question is, what piece of advice can you share with mentors and mentees in this program?
I'm actually going to reiterate a little bit of what Erica said in the previous question, which is to really take the opportunity and, do as much as you can with it, right? You're going to get as much as you put into it. And I really do think that that is going to be a key thing, especially for mentees, but even for mentors. If you have a goal, or if you have something that you want to get out of, especially the 3-month period, like, think about what you want to get out of it and make that part of the initial conversation, to set expectations and again, a shared understanding of what you want to do and why you're there, what the goal is for you.
Yeah, and to build off of that a little bit, my piece of advice would be, so your mentor is there for you. They're participating in the program because they want to help. So try not to be afraid to ask them for help, even if it's kind of awkward or uncomfortable, because they genuinely want to be there for you and provide that mentorship.
Yeah, and I would say too, especially on your initial calls, is, in your initial call, is to get to know them at a personal level, kind of make that be almost kind of like a coffee chat, because, you talk a little bit about, oh, here's where I'm from, here's my background, and then you kind of start to build that relationship just organically, instead of just like jumping straight into like, okay, I'm your mentor, you know what I mean? And I'm your mentee, and this is what we have to do. Like, I think when you find those bits of alignment with one another, right? Like I'm from the Midwest and my mentor is from the Midwest. So we just started just off of that and talking and getting to know each other. So there's that bit of alignment. And I think that will then help with feeling more comfortable as you move along, with being honest and getting to know them and telling them about any struggles and questions or concerns you have within your role or in other ways, so that it doesn't just feel like the entire process is a superficial kind of conversation and that sort of thing. And I think I agree. The cadence is a big deal. And I think lining that up through the program, and then also being sure that, again, as you keep that relationship going, having, setting up a regular monthly call or whatever. I talk to my mentor monthly, right? And sometimes I'll DM him and be like, hey, I got a question. And like, I want to talk to you about something, and he'll make time for me. So I feel like that's important. So not only as you're going through the program, but also making sure that you kind of set up that alignment to meet regularly afterwards is important. And just having that personable relationship that is outside of the organization, but still within it, so that, you can still continue to have it as you move along in your careers.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point to call out, because I think that building psychological safety in a relationship takes time. And so you might find that like by the end of the 3 months is like when you're just now feeling safe with your mentor. And so I think it would be a shame if it was a good relationship and it didn't continue because there wasn't communication around cadence, around meetings. If you feel like it's not a relationship you want to maintain, then mentorship naturally ends, and that's a totally fine thing. But if it is, and it's a mentorship where you feel safe and you feel supported, then I think like the point of this program is to build long-term mentorship relationships. So I think that that's really important to call out, especially at the beginning. So thanks for that, Erica. Okay, looking at the time, we have about 4 more minutes of this call. So I wanted to open it up to anyone else on the call who might have a question, either about a question that you want to ask any of the panelists about their experience, or any just questions that you have on your mind about program logistics. This would be a good time to ask them. Cool. Well, I will just assume that that means there's no questions, which is great. We did have just like a little bit of back and forth in the chat, and there are some good links that were shared, that 2 different helpful handbook sections. One is the page in the Women TMRG handbook that outlines the specifics of this program specifically, and the other is in the Learning and Development handbook, and that is where there's more general mentorship resources. So we can close out this call a little bit early. I am really thankful that you have all been here, and thank you to the panelists for participating and being open and sharing your experience. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this program goes. So thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.
Good luck. Thanks.